Welcome to the GCN Tech Show.
Campagnolo will not be ridden in the Tour de France this year, or any World Tour race, for the first time since its inception in the 1940s. We're going to discuss that.
It's a big deal, and also this week we have new wheels, a new gravel bike, we've got hot tech, comments of the week, and of course the bike vault. We've basically got it all going on.
Let's do it. Yes, Campagnolo, a brand steeped in history that first won the Tour de France back in 1946 or 1948, depending on who you ask, it's complicated, is for the first time not going to be represented in the World Tour or at the Tour de France since its inception. And this is a brand that has won more Tours de France than any other group set brand.
So, how do we get this situation? Well, right, if we go back to 2020, you had Lotto Soudal, AG2R, and then the Tour de France winning team, UAE Team Emirates, all running Campagnolo, right?
Before that, you had Movistar as well.
Yeah, and loads of other teams as well, if we go back even further. But Lotto Soudal switched to Shimano in 2022, and then UAE and Cofidis then moved on to Shimano in 2023, and then AG2R are the most recent team to have made that switch from Campagnolo across to Shimano as well. Now, what are some of the reasons behind this can we think of?
Well, I feel it's not as straightforward as a lot of people might think.
Of course it's not.
One of the first things to consider is perfectly illuminated by AG2R's switch recently, which is that a lot of it is down to group set brands and OEM supplies of those group sets onto bikes that, say, just you and I can buy.
Yeah.
So increasingly, a lot of brands don't offer Campagnolo-equipped bikes, and the numbers of Campagnolo-equipped bikes are just far less.
Yeah, it's far smaller actually, because if you look at, say, Canyon, for example, they've only got a real select few models that have Campagnolo group sets as an option. Other brands, say, like Orbea, don't even offer Campag-equipped road bikes, only Shimano and SRAM. It's kind of like almost a halo product, would you say?
Yeah, so in the case of Lotto, Destiny switching onto Orbea don't offer Campagnolo. So it's very difficult if they're sending complete bikes to the team to do that. It just becomes another hurdle to overcome. And yeah, if you look at, say, like Canyon, those Campagnolo bikes they do have, they're real halo products.
Yeah.
You know, they're dream builds. They're 10 grand plus. They're called the special like X bikes by Canyon, and they look incredible with the super record on them and the Bora wheels. But
I love it.
They have special like gold graphics on the Ultimate. I saw it looks really nice, but yeah, it's not a mass market product.
Yeah, it's not for your everyday rider, is it?
No.
I guess also something else that we need to factor in is that not all teams will have a group set sponsor. So while some teams at World Tour level are directly supported by Shimano, they're obviously going to get all their equipment supplied. There's lots of teams which don't have that sponsor, so therefore they're reliant upon using the equipment which their like bike brand or manufacturer supplier is going to supply them with. And if they don't have loads of Campag equipped bikes, well, they're not going to supply them, are they?
Yeah. One thing I should point out though is there were like sort of mid-range. I mean, the mid-range has become what was high end now, hasn't it? Like, just forgive me, just in terms of pricing, you know, bikes that cost a few £1,000s.
Say trickle down tech, go on.
Trickle down tech. But so you can get bikes that have Campagnolo on them in that range, but most of them that we saw tended to be gravel bikes with the e-car group set on, rather than road bikes. There's not many like mid-range road bikes with Campag at all.
It's just a strange situation to have ended up in.
Yeah, it is. But I think like a lot of, in terms of the sponsorship of pro teams, most pro teams don't have like a sponsorship deal with a group set.
No.
That's a misconception. So
there's very few do.
Yeah. So for example, with Shimano, like pretty much, I mean, you were at Tour Down Under.
I was. And don't know if I mentioned it before.
They were all, like, most teams are running Shimano. It's the dominant thing,
I think pretty much all bar 4.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which are running SRAM.
Yeah. Someone will correct if I'm wrong.
And of all those teams that are running Shimano components, like Shimano, the actual Shimano sponsored teams are as follows. So Alpecin-Deceuninck, Groupama FDJ, both the men's and the FDJ Suez women's team.
Yeah.
Ineos, Soudal Quickstep, the DSM men's and women's
Firmenich.
teams.
Firmenich.
I can't get my head around the.
Yeah.
What is it? DSM Firmenich Post
NL.
NL.
Yeah, I've got the NL
Catchy.
bit sorted.
They're both running it. They're sponsored, and Phoenix de Koenig, the women's de Koenig team.
Yeah.
Jayco Alula as well.
It is kind of like a massive shame when you consider the heritage of the brand, and there's not many brands that can claim like a story that's as compelling as Campagne, is there?
Yeah, no, it's I mean, like, you know, winning Tours de France in the 1940s and then through, you know, all like the end of the copy era and then into, you know, the sort of Anquetil Merckx eras and then
Well, the history and the what the heritage of the company stands for, I think, is probably like one of the most interesting and inspiring things that drew people to the company in the first place.
Yeah, I mean, brands would kill to have that.
Yeah.
To tell that, to be able to have that in your back pocket as a marketing story, to say, well, how credible you are as a brand because we've done all of these things. Yeah, like, so many brands would kill for that.
So I filmed that.
And you think, well, people forget how, relatively speaking, SRAM and Shimano are so much younger.
Oh, by a million miles.
Yeah.
It's crazy. So I filmed that video that I found really interesting. Hopefully other people did as well. All about the like history of Campagnolo and the innovations that they've had throughout their history. So many innovations that you would have no idea that Campagnolo started out and then others have followed from. Loads of really interesting things. And it does feel like to me a shame that part of that core philosophy is not, I don't want to say it's lost because I don't know that it is, but it feels like it's distanced away from its side, doesn't it?
Yeah, and it's. I mean, the other downside about it is like, if you know Campagnolo is declining or not being as present or not as many people are buying it, is the less competition in the market is not a good thing for consumers.
No,
it drives innovation because brands have to come up with something that's better than the brands that they're competing against.
Well, and hopefully a better price as well.
Yeah, but then it also makes pricing more competitive. So like you kind of want more competition and don't want to see brands go. But, you know, group set brands sort of coming and going, it isn't a new thing. I mean, you think, well, there's plenty of...
others have tried to break in, haven't they?
Well, I mean, there's things that kind of still exist, but they're small now, and things that have just gone all entirely. So, you know, when you look at that list of group set... Tour de France wins by group set over the years, you know, you see things like Simplex and... Simplex pretty big, actually.
I can't even remember some of them. There's so many different ones.
Yeah, and like Huret. Ever heard of that?
No.
Huret. Huret won in 1953 and 54.
Oh, of course.
With
How
Bob
did I
A.
forget? How did I forget?
Bob A rode Huret. And 55.
But it kind of poses the question, right, of if you're trying to then sell group sets and your group set isn't present in the world tour, like top level racing, does that matter? Is that a thing? Is that changing who you're trying to sell your like product to? Maybe it's not. I don't know. What do you think?
Well, yeah, it's an interesting one, isn't it? Because, you know, maybe we are getting this the wrong way around, like, or maybe we're missing something here. The world has changed and marketing has changed so much in the last few years with the advent of social media and, you know, what we do, YouTube and Instagram and all that sort of stuff. And in the past, the Tour de France was the premier vehicle for you to advertise your product if you were a cyclist brand, right?
Yeah, other stuff didn't exist, basically.
There wasn't really another vehicle to kind of showcase your product, make it look cool and make people want to buy it. But now...
Instagram.
There's
Everything
so much.
looks cool.
There's so... yeah. But there are a lot of people... You know, you've got like the alternative calendar thing, like what Lachlan Morton's been doing, which arguably more people have heard of him than have heard of riders of his level that race in the Tour de France. You know, people might know the main protagonists, but they don't...
Yeah, like the main like bunch and probably 80% of the peloton, a lot of people would struggle to name.
Well, I mean, you know, you'd arguably say that... Well, if you just look on, say, number of Instagram followers or number of Strava followers, we have more followers than a lot of riders.
I could do a bump in mine up if you actually.
Yeah, but we have more followers than a lot of people in the Tour de France,
which is absolutely bonkers.
It is bonkers. It is actually bonkers. These are like
professional athletes.
I know.
These are incredible.
I mean, obviously, like Pogacar and then those guys and Van der Poel, they have way more than us. But you know what I mean? Like Jean-Pierre Le Domestique on some random French team.
Yeah. For me, right, the thing that I think is cool about Campagnolo and why I hope that what established its place in the industry continues is the like real handmade Italian vibe and feeling that it's got.
Let's be clear, it's not handmade.
Yeah, but like that
it's
feeling.
It's made by machines.
Yeah, but that feeling.
It's a high precision product.
Yeah, but that feeling from
but it's
where
been
it
cobbled
started
together.
Out, yeah, someone's like an individual file.
Giulio Campagnolo in his shed.
You know what I mean. But, you go back, you used to be able to buy all the little individual parts for Campagnolo. You could service it at home. You can't do that with modern group sets. The thing that it's that mechanical feeling. That's, I think of it like an Italian sports car, right? People aren't rushing to buy an electric Italian sports car, are they? That industry is like hanging out as long as possible to avoid going electronic.
Yeah.
So maybe people have fallen out of love with stuff because mechanical doesn't exist, and that was what they loved about it before.
Well, yeah, I mean, so another thing is if you look at, say, cars, we all, used this example before.
Yeah.
In cycling, everyone seems to want the equivalent of a Formula One car. But in cars, that's ludicrous. Like, people don't want that.
Yeah.
And so
Can't
people
go do your Asda Big Shop in that. Can you?
People want something that's just really nice and really cool. And that, and then when you look at like the resto mod thing that's gone crazy in cars, the Singer 911s, and you think, God, wouldn't it be amazing if Campagnolo made 1989 super record, but just made it with modern tolerances and just made it amazing. And
we can dream.
And it looked like it did, but it was just with a few tweaks and improvements with what we know now, but still a vintage, modern, like a Singer 911.
It would be incredible. I don't really know what else I've got to say about it, to be honest, but I hope that there's I just hope it all works out mega for everyone, basically. I just don't want to see anyone struggle and suffer.
Right, well, you're a good egg.
We should probably hear other people's thoughts on this as well, shouldn't we?
Yeah, let us know what you think about this in the comments. Really keen to hear your...
Well, any good, as I say every week, any good sort of thoughts, we'll share them next week, won't we?
Should we move on to hot tech?
Yeah, let's. It's now time for hot and spicy tech. We're going to kick things off with the fact that Red Bull have now acquired a majority stake, 51%, in the Bora Hansgrohe team. Which I think is big news, isn't it?
Yes.
You sound unsure.
Well, it says here, this is this is the news, okay?
Yeah.
German World Tour team Bora Hansgrohe have confirmed the acquisition of their parent company, RD Pro Cycling GmbH and Co. KG and RD Beteiligungs GmbH. It's a catchy name. By Austrian drinks company Red Bull. I didn't actually... I knew there was Red Bull operations based in Austria. I never actually realised that Red Bull was Austrian until now.
I don't even know what to say about it. I don't know what to say.
Did you know it was Austrian?
Yeah, I did actually.
Did you?
Yeah. Even if I didn't.
Am I the only one who's missed that they were Austrian? I know...
Even if I didn't know, I was going to say yeah, because it makes me look like I knew something that you didn't for once.
Anyway, there's... I don't
know whether this is a good thing or a bad thing. I'd like to think it's good and is going to help improve innovation and growth of the sport.
Well, hopefully. I think what Red Bull is really good at is marketing.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Because I'm not a fan of the drink. But they are good at that. And cycling needs marketing help, I think.
Yeah.
In the World Tour racing thing, get more. So maybe that's good. And I'm guessing there's very smart people at Red Bull. I'm guessing they have a plan. I just don't have a clue what it is. Because I don't understand why you would want to buy a stake in a cycling team of any level. Because...
it could go wrong.
Well, maybe if you're a millionaire and you've got nothing, a multi...
I don't think Red Bull are worrying about
and you've got nothing better to do and it's a passion project, well, fair enough. But in terms of a business thing, it's 51% of pretty much nothing because a team lives and dies by its sponsors, so all of a sudden a team can just disappear.
Well, that's a very sensible, logical way of looking at it, actually. Yeah.
Well, it's not it's
It's not a physical item, is what you're saying?
Yes.
Okay, all right. Shall we move on?
Yeah.
Okay, so Campagnolo have just, seeing as they're our main talking point,
right.
have just released two new
Topical.
Two new wheel ranges. So you've got the Bora Ultra WTO and the Bora WTO. They're disc brake only. In both of these wheel ranges, you've got a 35, a 45, and a 60mm option. Some of the changes here are to do with the rim width, so now 23mm.
That is wide.
That's wide. It's like modern road standards. That's wide, boy. And there's a bit of a revised shape for aerodynamics. So the rims are now 135 grams lighter than the previous ones. Just said they've got a revised shape. And Campagnolo are saying, let me read this out to you. Resistance to headwind is 13% less than with the previous model, and it drops to 80% in a 15-degree side wind.
Okay.
So let me just, that was a quote from their press release.
That's quite a big, that's the exact wording.
Yeah, I literally copied and pasted the exact wording.
Wow, well that's quite a big claim.
Yeah.
But it's very oddly specific.
Sorry, well, you've got to be specific.
I know.
We actually used the previous version of these wheels a couple of years back, didn't we?
Yeah.
That dream ride we did.
Yeah.
I hated every bit about that ride.
You weren't on a good day that day.
It just went uphill constantly.
I
genuinely
felt really good on that ride.
Yeah, I saw you ride off in the distance.
On every hill. Sorry, you got me back at the time trial the other day. One of the cool features on them though is they have the Momag nipples still, which were on the previous ones as well.
Yeah.
So it's like the internal nipples, right? I think this is a really good little engineering feature, but internal nipples, they save a bit on rotational drag, and so they help the wheel be a fraction more aerodynamic, so you want them. But the downside is they're harder to adjust if you ever need to true your wheel or adjust your nipples. You have to take the wheel tape off and stuff.
My nips?
Well, their design is it's still adjustable, even as an internal nipple, without taking the. It's clever.
Well, there's other exciting technology here as well. So,
I'm glad you agree that that's exciting.
It's exciting. So you've got the Hulk, which is handmade ultra-light carbon manufacturing process for the rim.
I thought it was Bruce Banner when he gets angry.
No. So the Ultra version uses Colt ceramic bearings and has a carbon fibre hub body on the rear, which is the same type of top-of-the-range carbon fibre used in the rims. Prices, shall I tell you some of the prices?
I'm sat down, so go on.
Well, of course, they're a top-end wheel. They're going to be expensive. The Bora WTO wheels retail price starts at $2,790, €2,590. The Bora Ultras, which are the next level up, the Ultra version, start at $4,090 and €3,690.
Well, I've got two kidneys. Don't need them both, do I?
Oh. Right.
There you go, right, okay.
Next up in Hot Tech, we've got the C68 gravel bike. Sai has actually made a first little video about this, so we won't give away like all of the juicy details.
Yeah, be sure to, if you've not already, subscribe.
Yeah.
And make sure you hit notifications so you don't miss this, because this bike is seriously hot.
Shall I run through like some of the sort of quick fire details about it?
Hit us.
Okay, so it's part of the C series, which Campagnolo have, which is their like handmade in Italy range, where they're trying to strike the perfect balance between performance and comfort. You've also got the C68 Road, C68 All-Road, C68 Titanium, and now the C68 Gravel. Few different options. You've got SRAM Rival, SRAM Red, 12-speed GRX mechanical, one by only at the moment, 42mm tyre clearance, and prices are starting at €7,250. As I said, if you want all the like tech details and the real juicy stuff, head over and check out Sai's first look.
The interesting thing is that people who have got into cyclocross over the last few years, as their coverage for a short while got way better, probably don't know like that Campagnolo has an incredible history in cyclocross, because it's not a brand that I think people today associate with cyclocross.
Yeah.
But when you look back at like the world's best cyclocross riders of like the previous era and before that, pretty much, well, a large proportion of them at some point have rode a Campagnolo cross bike.
So you think they're drawing on all of that knowledge and then bringing it into like modern?
I think so. I just think they've
standards.
just not focused on it much in this recent period. Oh. So it's good to see them doing it again.
All right. We also have the Kicker Run to mention. So I'm not sure why we're talking about a treadmill on a cycling tech show, but I thought it was worthwhile speaking about.
The new Kicker.
Yeah, the new Kicker.
Not what you think.
It's not what you think. It's a run. So Wahoo says it's going to transform indoor running the same way that the Kicker Smart Trainer did for cyclists.
Could you put a small bike on it? I was looking at it. Do you reckon you could put a BMX on it?
Yeah, probably Hank's bike.
What a Hank's bike?
A kid's bike. You could get your kid's bike on there. Yeah. I wanted to know, I think like most people that don't really know a vast amount of running, the first thing you're going to want to know is how fast it can go, right? I'm assuming that? No?
Yeah.
It can provide up to a pace of a 4-minute mile, which is 2 minutes 29 seconds per kilometre, and it can be connected up to all of like Wahoo's ecosystem.
Right.
I looked it up. The current marathon record pace for like a sub 2 hour marathon is only just marginally slower than that pace.
Right.
So I mean, if you plan on really slashing the world marathon record,
well, I know
you're going to be at the limit.
Know that Kipchoge does watch the GCN Tech show, so this one's not for you, Elliot.
Okay, fair. And then finally, in hot take this week, we need to talk about our competition which we've got running, which is with Precision Fuel and Hydration, where you can win one of 3 $250 gift cards and a personalised consultation to find out all about hydration.
So find out how sweaty you are.
Yeah, well, we actually did that
yeah.
in the video. So there'll be a link in the description down below to take you to the competition page. And the question you've got to answer is, which GCN presenter has the saltiest sweat? And to find that out, you know what you've got to do? Watch that video you were just discussing. Of course,
that's read
all the terms
prize.
and conditions as always, because there's some regions of the world that are excluded. Entries close at 10 GMT, Friday the 9th of February. Winners are going to be announced in the GCN show.
So you get $250 worth of precision.
Yeah, and
you can pick
personalised consultation.
It's all right, isn't it?
What's better than all right? It's bloody brilliant. Right, more hot take next week.
Time now for comments of the week. So these are comments that you've left on the GCN Tech videos over the last week. So we've got one here from last week's show, which is by Massimo Seferini, 8115. If you look closely, you can always tell when the lights go out with Alex when Ollie goes off on one of his technical commentaries. Yeah, sometimes you do. I just have to zone out a little bit. Yeah? Yeah, sorry. It's great information. It's just sometimes I zone out. Hope you don't take it personally. At WSPMJW, we'll brush past that. They say the discussion about lightweight and aero bikes has solidified my decision to purchase a lightweight all-round bike for my next purchase. The 6 seconds saved over 10 miles isn't a factor to my endurance riding in the events I participate in. Thanks for the great information. Well, if we've helped someone decide on what bike they want, that's the goal. We're not saying one's better than the other. It's more just like try and illuminate like the differences in a quantitative way so that people have an idea of what is the best thing for them.
Cool.
That's great. Glad we helped.
Yeah. Underneath the World Tour Bikes video, which I shot when I was at the Tour Down Under, just thought I'd mention that again, in the sun and the warmth.
Joe Kaiser
says, what is the typical tyre width for these teams? I'm curious to see how many teams are still riding 25 versus 28 or wider. Basically, not really anybody's using 25s or 26s.
That's nuts.
Most teams are running 28s, and because some of the internal rim widths are so wide, they're more like 29, 30s. The 28mm GP5000 TT TRs that UAE are using on those Envy rims are like bloody balloons. They're ginormous.
It's crazy, isn't it?
Tell a lie though, Ineos on a couple of the bikes that I saw are still using a 26 on the front and a 28 on the back. And oddly,
they do that on time trial bikes.
Oddly, there was the Bahrain Merida team mechanic gave me a bike, but he had to take out the wheels and tyres that all the team were using and put an older set of wheels in that had narrow tubular tyres on. Yeah. So yeah, not sure
a lot of love for Van Riesel as well in your video on the Tour Down Under bikes.
Yeah.
Like for example, Francis Rezon says, excited to see how Van Riesel bikes perform this year. I am as well. I think that is the hottest bike in the world right now.
You heard it here first. There you go.
Yeah.
You did a video also on Bike Fit. The weekend.
99% of cyclists make this mistake. So heated comment section.
I did skim through them, and I don't know what there is to get heated about.
Yeah, I think so. For example, Junk and Crapperman. Sounds like a reasonable guy.
Yeah.
He says, correction, 99% of cyclists do not have access to this machine. So it's the Selle Italia ID match.
Yeah.
And it isn't, you're right, it isn't widely available.
Yeah.
I think there's like 3 in England and the whole of the UK, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And some countries don't have it at all. I think while I'm a big fan of that system, the message I'm trying to get across is like quite simple in that most people who buy a high-end bike, they spend so much money on a bike, but then they don't get a bike fit until after they've bought it. And if or they start to feel a problem, like a bit of knee pain or I don't know, whatever it is, you can get pain all over the place, or the bike doesn't quite fit them, and you're spending so much money on a bike, and you know you're going to be doing epic rides, it just makes so much more sense to get a bike fit before. And it doesn't necessarily have to be the ID match system. Yeah. There are loads of other good bike fitting solutions out there.
Or even just someone with the knowledge of bike fitting that can look at you and go, well, this, need to change that.
Exactly.
A human.
I just think that people do it in the wrong order. And that's the message I'm trying to get across. Do it the other way around. Because it's like, I stand by it. 99% of people make that mistake and do it the other way. I've done it.
I'm in complete agreement with you, yeah. I'm in agreement.
Like, in all the years of experience we've got of getting bikes, buying bikes, riding bikes, it's that thing of like, this is what we've learned over like...
You wouldn't buy all of your clothes online, get them delivered to your house and then walk to the shop with them and then try them on, would you? You'd try it all on before you buy it. Right. Also, can we just take a moment to discuss the mid-level crit bike race video? I think it was a success, if I say so myself, and I feel like it genuinely proved the point that you don't have to have a Tour de France level bike unless you plan on racing the Tour de France, which I think was kind of cool, and that was like the crux of it. 105, aluminium frame, yes, it had carbon wheels, but they were like 105 level carbon wheels, and I think it was just cool to prove that point.
Yeah, no, I totally agree.
I'm glad you agree, mate. It'd be a bit awkward if you disagreed.
Well, you did really well as well.
Oh, thanks. That means a lot.
I think, it's it shows that level of equipment is competitive.
Yeah, that's kind of what I wanted to get at. That yes, we always like bash on about having like fancy high-tech equipment and stuff, but choose the right level of stuff. It's the real deal, and at the end of the day, it's down to you, isn't it?
There you go.
Right, on to this week's Bike Vault.
Ooh.
First one in is from Mark with a 2005 Le Mans
Chambray
with Drillium.
Oh.
Vintage parts, 7.9 kilos. That's lighter than most disc aero road bikes.
I'm going super nice, straight up.
Where's the bell?
Straight up.
All right.
You know what? He's used, instead of a shadow stand, some snow.
Oh yeah, he said, standards for the Bike Vault. I know my crank's on level, but I had to work with what was around me. Snow.
Incredible. And that's in Utah as well. Which, when I was there in the summer, a few months ago, was bone dry. So cool to see that they've had some snow there.
Will next with the Giant Propel Advanced Pro Zero Custom 2024.
I'm loving the reflection there as well. Anyway, carry on.
Yeah, super cool. Says he's excited and now flying on the road, just like the Road Runner. All right, Will.
A Giant Propel.
Biggie big, though. Come on.
Oh, no, nice.
Come on, man.
Get out of here.
Get out of here.
Get out of here. Oh, so cropped at the wheels, biggie big. Where rubbish locations, like all reflections and noise and all sorts going on
You
there.
can do better.
Your bike deserves better.
Sorry, that's a nice. Still, nice is okay.
Tom with a 1981 Puck Luzerne. So
I don't know
a 9-speed bike, this one.
Oh, okay. I got to be honest, the bike's not doing it for me, but I think, is it presented in a good way? Let's be fair about this.
It's a really nice bike. Look at that.
So, correct gear, valves are aligned, tyres are aligned. I love the Tamil tyres, to be fair, and the brown bar tape. It needs a brown saddle, if I'm honest.
What do you make of the saddlebag?
I actually think that's okay. It fits in with the bike.
I really like it. I'm going to go super nice on that one.
I'm going to super nice it because it's well presented and I can appreciate the bike. It's just not for me.
Michael Jackson, MJ, in Singapore is back.
Yeah, this is a follow-on from the other week where we said that they could do better. So here they are.
Right.
Do we think they've done better is the most important thing.
Chamon. Are they trolling us with that saddlebag?
Slightly.
If this is your second attempt, Jesus.
Oh, shots fired here.
Oh God, no! This is a brazen attempt to troll us.
Do we need round 3?
Mismatched bottles. We've got her biggest saddlebag available to humanity. That's even bigger than Connor's. And then you've got like the wheels all over the place. The biggie big. It's not been. The cassette's dirty. Oh no.
Should I put you down as a nice?
Yeah. No.
It's a nice, I'm afraid.
And it's a cool location as well, where he's taken the photo. That could be fantastic.
Oh, you keep going. I don't want to stop you. Yeah.
Next,
Right.
Thomas with an Enforcer BD, and he's in a place apparently called Bryan, which is in Texas.
Okay. Oh dear. Okay, what do we think of this? It's a what's it called? Oh, it's a polo bike polo. There we go. I knew I'd get there in the end. I don't know. I'm not digging it if I'm honest.
You're not? Why? It's a bike polo bike. It's well presented. I'm into it.
The cards in the back wheel are kind of cool.
I think it's... look, I'm not an expert at all on bike polo bikes, but that one looks cool and it's presented in its natural habitat and it's got no gubbins on it.
Yeah, all right, I'm going to be... I'll get it on board, yeah, super nice.
That's the first bike polo bike we've had in the bike bowl. That's a momentous occasion.
Chris next with a Merida Reacto.
In Winnipeg.
Test riding pictures after
Canada.
Cutting the fork. Look at this bike, I love that.
Yeah, easy, super nice.
Easy, yeah. That era of bike, rim brake, carbon wheels, Tamil tyres, sign me up.
Tick.
Yeah.
That's it, that's all we've got time for, sweet.
We haven't run out of time, we just run out of bikes. Time's endless in the show.
If you want to submit your bikes into the Bike Vault so that we can judge them, then there's a link in the description below that will take you to the uploader where you can upload them. So then we'll,
All right, dreamy. See you same time next week, shall we? We're out of here. See ya.
Bye.